I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Just missed that call. It's probably a political ad, and off we go. Let's get back to reality here. Okay, Wayfair, e-commerce site sees surge in demand during the COVID-19 crisis. Wayfair, one of those catalog companies you don't think of as a catalog company, but they are, and they mail stuff regular, and they're sending me I'm business to business, so they're sending me this little mailer, and as one of my clients said, you don't get much value. If you take the square inches of a catalog and compare it with the square inches of this, this thing costs about almost 2/3 of what a small catalog would cost, but it gives you like 1/10 the coverage. So it's not that great a deal. Better off putting the work in, getting a decent one, and getting better engagement. That's the way it works. Okay? But I just wanted you to know that they're seeing a surge, right? Selling home furnishings and other stuff, and increased demand is attributed to the stay-at-home, right? The stay-at-home orders, which we knew that already, but that's okay. All the catalogers I'm talking to are up, and now the question is going to be, how do you keep those customers when things go back to normal? And the answer is figure out which ones have the most value and then market appropriately. And we've been doing that for 25 years. We started with Cabela's. We called it the early life model because Cabela's was dumping on people. They were dumping a catalog a month at least on a new buyer. And if you bought at the beginning of the fishing season, you wouldn't get another fishing catalog probably because you wouldn't be in the mail cycle long enough. But you'd get a camping catalog and a footwear catalog and an apparel catalog, and then you'd get around to bow hunting, and then you might get turkey hunting, and then you might get something in the summer, I don't know, and then all of a sudden you're hunting, and you might get one fishing catalog, but then you wouldn't get any more. If you hadn't bought in a year, you'd stop, and you'd certainly miss the next season. And their number one complaint was, why do you mail me so much stuff I'm not interested in? Because they had these segmented product catalogs. They thought they did them by season. They didn't target to the people. They did have flags that indicated product preference, but about 10% of them were wrong. So people were flagged for having interest in camping, but they hadn't bought any camping, or they were flagged for not having interest in camping, but they had bought camping. So we sorted a bunch of that stuff out. But mainly what we did was we started to figure out that they should maybe mail a little fewer, especially on there was a lot of people that were buying one fishing lure. I had kind of a fight with Dick Cabela on this one. I said, Dick, you got too many cheap fishing lures. He didn't like that because, he wanted to have every fishing lure that ever existed. And what I suggested, though, to fix it was kind of interesting. I thought it was interesting. It's one of those things. I always think my solutions are interesting. What I suggested to fix it was the idea that you should have a minimum shipping charge or a minimum free ship. You could do too now because that's kind of more popular. And I said, let's make it like a $25 threshold, because you're selling a $5 item and you're telling me that you can pick it for like 50 cents. But they had 9 million square foot warehouses out in the prairie. I got to go out there with him once, and they drive golf carts around, and there's no way they could pick that stuff for they were running around all day out there on the golf carts. So anyway, we made them a lot of money just by raising the bar a little and suggesting that maybe you want to spend $25. But so that was probably the best idea. But we also started modeling and figuring out that the type of item they bought might say a lot about them, and it worked very well. The funny thing is that a lot of merchants think that if somebody places a big order, that's a really good customer, and they will actually segment monetarily by the average order size. And if they have one big order for a lot of money, what we found consistently especially in special interest titles, is that those people go dormant. The Gibson guitar for $2,000 comes to the house, and the wife says, "Now what did you buy?" And it takes a while to get over that. So about 4 years later, you've got 4 years later, you've got the divorce is settled, and he's moved into a mobile home, and all of a sudden he's buying again. We found that high mobile home percentage of household units was a good indicator for musician's friend back in the day. I don't know if it's still good. This is more than a decade ago. Anyway, I called him yesterday though. I called Dan out there. Anyway, we better move on. So the strong demand in home goods has been worldwide, and it's grown about 20% year over year in March, which is really good. Okay, slightly below 20%. Okay, so Wayfair is banging it up. There's a company in France called Back Market, and it's refurbishing electronics and then reselling them. And there are vendors on eBay. There's quite a few vendors on eBay that do this sort of thing. But they were saying that it's up quite a bit, but they're only in France, so I'll just tell you that. I'm just saying that not everything is down. A lot of things are up. Okay, Domino's is giving away 10 million slices of pizza to hospital workers, grocery store employees, and more. Their franchisees get to pick who gets it, but they're giving away lots of slices of pizza. Which brings me to another commercial that I wanted to show you because I thought it was funny. And let's just go dive right in.
For 60 years, Little Caesars has believed that every family has the right to pizza night, which is why our pizza is cooked at 475 degrees, never touched after, and available by non-contact carryout and free delivery. Peace of mind, always.
So I didn't even know that, right? I didn't even know that Little Caesars cook these pizzas and they go right in the box and nobody even touches them after they're baked. I stood outside Domino's and watched them by hand. They have gloves on, but that heat bakes out all the junk. And but I didn't realize they went right in the box and nobody touched it, and probably all the pizzas, because my wife had some concerns about whether or not there was anything, whether or not you could get sick from this stuff. And I really didn't know. How do I know? Now, there was another article I was gonna, oops, here it is. I was gonna talk about, which this brings to mind. Let's go over to that. Now I got too many things open here. There we go. 70% of consumers worry about the safety of reading print products during the COVID-19 virus. And I was kind of hoping that this article, which is from Media Post, would talk about, oh, it's no big deal, it's nothing to worry about, until I found out what China was really like. I was ordering a lot of stuff on eBay from China, and it comes in a couple of weeks. I figure there's time for it to die, the viruses to die. But, what is the story? Does USPS tell you that? We got to find that out. So people are concerned in general because of poor survivability. These coronaviruses on the surface, there's very low risk of spreading from food products or packaging. So, you can probably read your mail, but, you'd hate to die just because of some junk mail. The junk mail death. Okay, anyway, so I thought work on that. There's an Electronic Privacy Information Center is calling for renewed investigations of the popular conferencing service Zoom. And so I thought, I wonder what they are, because I know for a while they were routing their calls through China, which didn't seem to be very productive. You'd think, whoa, that's a long distance call, especially when I'm just calling like my daughter, in Milwaukee. It would be even a local call once Metroplan hit, which was when I was a kid. But so I thought, well, what the heck are they? What are the issues? And So one was that Zoom allowed participants to access LinkedIn data about other meeting participants. Now, as far as I know, you can do that anyway, right? Especially if you're already connected to them. And if you're not, you can still get, you're probably second level because they're they're somehow connected to your company. And even third level, you can at least find their name. And if you can't, trick is search for them on Google. A lot of times when you search for somebody, LinkedIn will bring up a partial view of it, but if you put their exact title, search for that, it'll find that person in Google. Just a tip. So anyway, so I don't know what that one's about. That doesn't sound like a big deal, even though the New York Times reported it. Employers could learn whether people had other apps open during the Zoom meetings. That's a pretty good one, I think. If he warns you, right, and says, she says, he says, they say, hey, what are you doing? Playing solitaire while you're at the meeting. Oh, yeah, that's true, I was. Better to do that after the meeting, or better to do that in a chat message. I think Zoom can let you chat directly to other participants, although I've only used Zoom a little bit. So I thought that might be a good idea, actually. And then another one was allegedly violating users' privacy by sending information about them to Facebook. Like what? Like I attended a church board meeting, and we talked about the parking lot repaving project. So public schools in New York City have banned the use of Zoom. I'm sure that's going to help their bottom line and their teaching productivity. I don't know. So it turns out most of what people are mad at Zoom about is a big nothing burger, and I'm not too worried about it. I'm less worried about it now than I was a few hours ago. So that's enough for today. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will think you're smart. Oh, we got to end up on something good. So let's put a big screen up there. That makes it work better. Have a great day. Stay safe. Yes, I'm all alone in the office. There's nobody here in the whole building. There's like 3 people. And so I figure it's safer than home because my son is at home. No, he's at work now, but he goes to work, comes back, works in a factory. People are coughing all over the place, I think. But it's essential, so he can infect me there. But I think I'm safe here. Safe in my little kingdom. Have a great day. Great news coming up. Maybe we'll cover some of it tomorrow. Bye-bye.